everyone, thank you so much for clicking on this video. Today we are taking a look at the TaylorMade new P790 irons, the Generation 3. Now this is an update video. I've already done 2 videos on these new irons that are going to be coming out, but in this video we have a lot more images to take a look at, some more information, a more accurate date of when you'll be able to get your hands on these irons, when you'll be able to order them and receive them, and also a bunch more images from pretty much every single angle of this iron. So let's dive in and let's start taking a look. Now, if you haven't seen my last 2 videos, then I'll probably recap most of it in this video, but it might be worth checking out. And make sure you do like this video, obviously, and subscribe to the channel, and comment any thoughts you have down below. I'd love to hear what you guys think. I'll reply to all of your comments. Okay, so this first image I want to take a look at. This is really interesting. It's actually the TaylorMade P790, the new Generation 3, compared to the current P770 iron from above. So this gives us a really good view of the top line of this iron. And to be completely honest, when I first saw this, I was a little bit disappointed. Why was I disappointed? Well, if you haven't seen my other videos on these new Generation 3 2021 TaylorMade P790 irons, basically, it's rumored that the improvements they're trying to make, I mean, obviously the TaylorMade P790 irons have been so successful, such a great product for, the last 4 years now, that the new improvements they're trying to make is they're kind of trying to limit or get rid of that flyer that you get occasionally when you really flush one and it goes 5 or 10 yards further than you intended. That's kind of what they're trying to get. So they're almost trying to, in some ways, make this a little bit more of a player's iron in terms of getting that real consistency of carry distance, but whilst also maintaining and keeping that forgiveness. That apparently is what they are trying to work on with this iron. And when I heard that, I thought, great, because I love the TaylorMade P790 irons, but that was almost exactly the reason when I was custom fit that I didn't go for them, because you get that one that just, they almost sometimes just go too far. They really do. And that's not always what you want. If you have 170 yards to a pin, you don't want the ball going 180. You want it going 170, and yeah, on off-centered strikes you want that forgiveness, but you don't want it when you flush it to just suddenly go miles. So I was really pleased to hear that, but I kind of also thought, well, maybe they'll be making it a little bit slimmer, a little bit kind of sexier, a little bit more of a player's iron. And when we look at this image of the P790 compared to the TaylorMade P770, the current model, there's a noticeable difference. The P790 is quite a lot thicker top line, just looks overall a bit chunkier. If you look at that toe section, that's quite a bit chunkier. And, so when I first saw this, I was a little bit disappointed. Let's move on to another image now. Just going to take a look at the backs of the TaylorMade P790 and P770. And another thing, we haven't had any leaked images of a new TaylorMade P770 iron. This is obviously the old version, and I'm not sure if we're going to be getting a new version or not. We haven't had any information suggesting that TaylorMade are going to be refreshing the P770s, and if they are, it appears like it won't be coming out at the same time as the P790s because we've had no information about it. Now let me know, would you like TaylorMade to refresh the P770s, or do you feel they're not really needed because they could go from P790 into the P7 not MB, P7, the TaylorMade P7MCs, which, are a reasonably forgiving iron. They're more of a player's iron, they're not a blade, but they have some forgiveness in them. Rick Shields uses them, quite a popular iron, pretty good looking. So do you guys think that TaylorMade P770 iron, would you like to see them bring it back? Do you think it has a purpose in this iron lineup, or do you think it's kind of not really needed. It will be really interesting to see if they do refresh it. At this point, we have no reason to believe. But looking at this image of the TaylorMade P790 and the TaylorMade P770, both really good looking. You can actually see with this new P790, the styling of it is actually like, it blends quite nicely with the TaylorMade P770. I mean, maybe possible combo set there would look really sleek. That would look really nice. We can kind of see the blade length of the TaylorMade P790 appears to be a little bit longer than the blade length of the P770. And, you know, let me know which one of those you think is better looking, or which you'd be looking to add to your golf bag. Let's dive into another image now. This is the sole of the TaylorMade P790 in the 7 iron. And already, well, we can see a few things. This is obviously a fitting club. That's why they have that screw in the heel so they can swap out heads and shafts really easily. And they have obviously a speed slot in the bottom, and you have that beautiful kind of satiny finish. Really nice graphics with the 7 on the toe, and quite a thick sole, I would probably say. It would be interesting to see if this sole is any thinner to the previous versions. It would be really interesting to see the dimensions of this iron compared to previous versions, if it has gotten any slimmer or if they've kept it the same. Apparently the blade length might have got a little bit longer. That's kind of one of the rumors going around. So it will be really interesting to say. And by the way, guys, if you have any other thoughts on this iron, or think I've missed anything, just comment down below. Reply to all your comments. Let's dive into another image now. Again, this is a fitting iron we're taking a look at, so you can see those markings on the hosel there. And TaylorMade P790, again, this gives us another good look at a different angle of this iron. To my eye, one of the changes with this iron aesthetically is that it's a slightly squarer profile. The edges look a little bit sharper, a little bit more squared off, not quite as round. That's just what it appears to me. Let me know if you agree or disagree with that. It looks a little bit more aesthetically pleasing, I would guess. I would say it looks better than the previous version. I think it's like a simpler design. It has a bit less going on, but more of maybe a minimalist design, but still really good looking. Very kind of futuristic in the styling of it. Love the lines, really beautiful there. Again, we can see this looks like it's a 7 iron, and you got that speed slot on the bottom. And now if we have a look at another image of the back of this iron, TaylorMade P790, it looks like a really good looking iron. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on it. You get that slim sliver of chrome running through the back of it, and also I'll be letting you know in just a minute or two when you can actually get your hands on these irons, when you can order them, and when you will be able to actually receive them as well. So again, chrome running through the backs of these irons, really beautiful. You can see tungsten written on it there. And yeah, it should be really interesting to see how these irons do. They're probably, in my mind, they're going to be the best looking of all the P790s, which you would hope, because they're obviously the latest versions. And if we take another look, let's take a look at this image of the club face here. Again, to my eye, it just looks a little bit more squared off. The lines all look a little bit more straighter than on previous versions, but we don't have anything to compare it to, so it'll be really interesting to see if the head shape has changed at all. It does look like quite a long blade length, which again, not a bad thing at all. Looks pretty good, you know, from this angle. Maybe not too much to look at, but I mean, just that angle, I don't know what it is, but it just looks like a very hot club face. I don't know, that's just probably more a psychological thing than anything else, just knowing how far these irons do go. And now let's take a look at the last image of these irons from above, sitting down at the golf ball. If I'm honest, this is the angle probably the only angle I don't like the look of these irons, and I'd love to hear your thoughts. I mean, these are maybe designed for, I mean, they're kind of designed for all levels of handicap, but, you know, certainly they're more forgiving, so they are designed a little bit more for a slightly higher handicap. and they have, you can also see quite a lot of offset there, definitely a few degrees of offset. And yeah, I mean, they just look quite thick on that top line. Personally, to me, not the most pleasing, just because how thick that top line is. So thick. But if you're, higher handicap, maybe you want that. Maybe you want that look of forgiveness. It fills you with confidence, that big club head down at the golf ball. Again, I do think this looks quite square down at the golf ball, that leading edge, top edge, everything. The design of it, to me, looks like a very square sitting iron. Comment your thoughts down below if you have any thoughts on that. And there we go, guys. That is all the most recent images we have of this iron. I'm really excited for these irons to see how they perform, what the differences and changes are to the previous versions, because it is hard when you bring out such a successful iron and then you've got to revamp it, come out with new versions. How do you improve on what was already so popular and successful? So when can you actually get your hands on these irons, guys? Well, thanks to a few people who have commented. One person, when I put some images up on, I believe it was on YouTube in my previous video, someone commented and said they just got fit for the previous versions of the TaylorMade P790s, but apparently TaylorMade couldn't fulfill the order. They were missing a few of the clubs. I'm not sure what happened there, but they offered them a free upgrade to the new versions and said they would be able to get them for around the first or second week of September. So apparently these irons are actually going to be launched officially towards the end, maybe middle end of August, and then you'll be able to get your hands on them. They'll be able to start fulfilling orders towards the beginning to middle of September. So that is when you should be able to start looking at these irons. I'd love to hear your thoughts, guys. What do you think about these irons? What do you think about the looks? What changes do you think they'll have made? It appears technology-wise like they maybe haven't added any new features of technology. They've still got the speed foam, they've still got the speed slot on the bottom, they've still got tungsten in there for forgiveness and different weighting. Maybe they'll have added some more tungsten for extra forgiveness, because they have made that blade length a bit longer, or so it appears at this point. And they appear to have changed the head shape slightly, so maybe moved some weighting around, trying to vary that performance. Maybe they'll have limited the amount of speed foam that's right on the sweet spot of these irons, so it doesn't come off quite as hot, and then maybe put some extra bits with that tungsten weighting in the heel and toe to help with that forgiveness. But let me know, guys, comment down below. I'd really love to hear from you guys. Make sure you do give this video a like as well, and subscribe to my channel. If there is any more information that comes out about these irons before the release, I will probably make another video on them, and I might make a video when they're officially released and we have the full story, so I can share that with you guys. It will be really interesting to see how close we are at this time to that full story, to if there's anything we've missed, if there's anything we've gotten right, will be really interesting to see. But I'm super excited. Really good looking irons coming from TaylorMade. It'd be interesting to see if any more come out towards the end of this year, or maybe early next year. They'll wait for that potentially. So yeah, comment down below, guys. Give this video a like, subscribe to the channel. I will see you in the next one, guys, and as always, grip it and rip it.